Good morning, students. I, Lokesh Saini, welcome you all to the Krishna Pradeep's IS 21st Century, that is known as KPSIS Hyderabad. Guys, KPSIS is bringing a new component, that is UPSC PSIR Optional at the Hyderabad Center. Now, in this today's session, we'll try to learn that how to choose your optional subject in your journey of UPSC. Second, I will also teach you today that why to choose the PSR as an optional subject, because PSIR has become the most trustable and the most credible optional in the last 1 decade. After that, I will also tell you a detailed discussion we will do about our UPSC syllabus of PSIR, right? Starting from how to choose your optional subject. Guys, we have already seen that every era has their own optional trend. Like there was a time when out of 700 selections or 600 selections, there were 300 people, those who belonged to the psychology. After that, there was a trend that people who used to have public administration as their own optional. We see anthropology as the trend, and now the new trend is PSIR. Now, what are the important factors when we choose an optional subject in the journey of our UPSC? Number one is, first of all, the key component I always suggest to the students is we have to think, because optional subject consists of 500 marks, right? It consists of two paper 1 and paper 2. Both paper consist of 250 marks, that is 500. Now in each these paper 1 and paper 2, we have two sections, section A, section B. Same in the paper 2, we have section A and section B. Now in paper 1, we have to do total in your UPSC mains. When you will give your optional paper, you have to attempt only 5 questions out of 8 questions. Got my point? Now, what is the key criteria to choose an optional? The number one criteria should be that we should see that is our optional subject is overlapping with any other GS component. Because in GS1 we see history is there, in GS1 we see geography is there, in GS1 we see Indian society is there, right? In GS paper 2 we have political science there, governance we have social justice, we have international relations. In GS3 paper we have environment, we have science and tech, we have economics, we have internal security, and paper 4 is of ethics, right? And first paper essay, that also consists of 250 marks. Now the key agenda of this talk is now how to find that out of this all 4 or 5 papers, is our optional is overlapping with somebody or not. Second, other important keynote, that whatever optional we are choosing, the dynamic nature of the subject we should know, because the more dynamic the nature of the subject, it will be more difficult for a student to write an answer. Why? Because if a dynamic subject is there, so every year you have to change your answer pattern. Just like the only drawback of the PSIR, I will also tell you the drawbacks, not only the benefits of the PSIR, but you have to be updated with current affairs. But same time, if you are updated with the current affairs, it have a multi-dimensional positive impact on your prelims preparation, right? Because PSIR is a dynamic, the IR component of your PSIR optional is a dynamic in nature. You have to prepare it thoroughly throughout the year. It requires full attention. So dynamism is the most important key component in your optional choosing, right? If you choose anthropology, it's not that much dynamic. If you choose sociology, it is not that much dynamic. If you choose history, same thing you can write from last 20 years to upcoming 20 years, because history, nothing could be changed in history. Whatever it is there, it has to be there, right? These are the, now another important, that availability of your study material, be it notes, be it books. Availability of the study material is one of the key component in choosing an optional subject. Suppose if you choose chemistry or physics, you don't have the coaching institutes for physics or chemistry, like as if we compare it with political science, or if you choose zoology. So there is a less number of chances that you will get a good quality of content into the market. But if you choose the dynamic subject like PSIR, you will get n number of content into the market. Market is flooded with the PSIR optional content. This is the best thing about this optional, right? Now, we'll also learn, I've already discussed about this overlapping of the GS, length of the syllabus, because on an average, we used to teach for 3 months. For optional, 3 months to 3.5 months is more than enough for your UPSC preparation, right? Suppose every day you study for 2 hours also. In 3 months, there will be 90 days, 180 hours to 250 hours is the accurate time to complete your UPSC optional subject, if you have a proper guidance. Dynamism of the subject we have already discussed. Lesser the dynamism, better the subject. In the subject, questions are the same, but answer changes every year, just like political science. Source of information we have discussed. Background. Now, background of a student also matters sometimes. Like I was from BTech background, then I did my master's in political science. So it was not that much hard for me to choose an optional subject, because I already completed my master's in the particular pol science. Now, suppose those who have already completed their graduation or their master's from humanities background, it will be 1,000 times better for them to choose that particular subject. Suppose you have done your honors in history, your master's in history, then I would suggest there will be a chance that you will perform better in history as compared to political science. But subject like political science has an advantage. A BTech student, if he has an interest in that particular subject, he can perform 1,000 times better than those who have completed their graduation in political science. So the important key phenomena is here that your interest towards the particular subject is the most component, most key takeaway of this session, right? So you have to develop that interest into your particular optional subject. Now, why choose the PSIR as an optional subject? The most important thing that why to choose the PSIR optional, because I've already told you, first of all, we will see that is this UPSC PSIR optional is overlapping with your GS1. You see, GS subjects, GS2 is completely of political science, in which you have to read polity, you have to read governance, you have to read IR, and you have to read social justice. Now, the most important benefit of a UPSC PSIR is by choosing PSIR as an optional, not only you can perform 500 marks that in optional, but you have an advantage over thousands of students, those who will write this 250 GS paper 2. Then if you calculate this 500 plus 250, that is 750. At the same time, those who have a important understanding of political science, they will also perform good in essay. So let's suppose every year on an average we are seeing nowadays there is a trend in the essay also that out of eight questions, on an average 2 questions there are which is related to either social justice or either political science or the stability of a governance, right? So you have 125 marks there also, 500 is of optional, 250 for the GS. Now if you calculate this mark, now one another key component area, that is ethics. Ethics consists of 250 marks, in which 120 to 130 the main core ethics, and 130 to 140 there are cases, ethics case studies. So you have also benefit in that particular ethics paper also. So on an average, your entire mains exam is of 750. And if somebody scores 850 marks nowadays, the days when the cutoff is less than 45%, I am talking about the general category students. OBC category, if you score 45%, that is very fine enough to get into that particular holy PDF. Now, the days when 850 if you score in the mains and 150 in the interview, your rank is going to be in top 100. Now, if you see this 850, if we calculate 500 and 250, that is 750, and this 125 is 875. So out of 1750, this 875, it is on an average roughly 50%, approximately 50%. So 50% of your component of your UPSC preparation is on an average revolving around the political science. This is the most important thing you have to understand, that if you choose optional PSIR, the number one benefit is you have, on an average, we see every year there is a 15 questions directly or indirectly asked in the prelims. So out of 100 questions, if 15 is there, it means 30 marks out of 200. The days when the cutoff is around 90 marks only. Out of 90, if you score polity, 30 marks can be achieved from the political science component. In prelims also, it is a very important component. Now we see mains already. I've told you that out of 1750, 875 marks it consists of political science or revolves around the political science. Now the second important, why to choose PSIR optional? Because it is a very interesting subject. It has a more dynamism as compared to other subjects. If you study political science, your current affairs will be also very good, right? The most important other factor is the availability of the resources is very high if you choose political science as an optional, right? At the end of the class, I will also tell you that which are the important books or from where to cover your optional, and why KPSIS is the best place to study your PSIR optional. I will tell you later on. The important thing is that this subject has very relevance to the current affairs, the analytical and critical thinking skills. It will develop your critical and analytical thinkings, because this political science subject is not like history that you will have to memorize everything. If you have the ability of critical analysis or logical thinking, you will very well connect your answers and you will get a very good score. You have to write, you don't have to write the answers in the paragraph forms. In political science, you have to write the answers in the flow charts. In the classroom, I will also write the answers and I'll let you know that how to write the answers. We will also discuss in detail when we will study the optional subject, that what are the previous year question papers, how to write the answers. This will be all covered up in your classes, right? Now, critical thinking skills, you don't have to memorize it like other subjects. Now, the most important, you have a good career opportunities besides the civil services. Like you can go to the academics, you have the various opportunity services like diplomacy, foreign services, research organizations, think tanks, international organization, journalism, and the policy making institutions. This is the only subject which will open the doors for your careers from the various aspects. I know many of my friends, those who were preparing UPSC, they were very serious students. Now they are very good. Today you see into the mainstream media of Indian media, the number of top journalists you see, they all are UPSC aspirants at their time. You see the institutions like World Bank, IMF. There are a lot of students, those who are the ex-students of UPSC. They are working into these think tank clubs. So if you study seriously this optional subject PSIR, it will open your various opportunities. It will open the doors for you, the multiple dimensions in diplomacy, foreign services, research organization, think tanks, right? I've already tell you the dynamism of the syllabus, lesser reliance on the memorization, personal interest and aptitude is one of the most important thing, right? Now, we will discuss that what are the two papers. I've told you that UPSC optional PSIR is for 500 marks. This is paper 1 250 marks, paper 2 250 marks. Both paper 1 has part A and part B. Both consist of 125 marks and 125 marks. Okay, so 125, that is 250. Same thing goes with paper 2, 125, in which now we'll start with paper 1. It primarily devolves into the political theory, Indian politics, exploring the concepts such as the political thinkers, ideologies, and the functioning of the Indian political system. In paper 2, focus on the international relations, covers the topic like global governance, foreign policy. Both paper aim to assess the candidate's understanding and the analytical skills, ability to articulate the ideas coherently. Now, we'll discuss in detail paper 1. Section 8 discuss about the political theory and the Indian politics, in which we read about the concepts of the democracy, the Western political thinkers like Aristotle, Machiavelli, Rousseau, Hannah Arendt. We will also read about the Indian political thinkers from Kautilya, Arthashastra, Mahatma Gandhi, M.N. Roy. These things we will run in the paper first. We will also learn about the concepts of power. We will also learn about the ideologies like socialism, liberalism, feminism, all these important ideologies, communalism, socialism, all these important ideologies we will learn into this paper first. And in paper B, we talk about Indian government and its politics, that how we got an independence, what were the ideologies at the time of the independence, what is grassroots democracy, how the Panchayati Raj system works, how these are the main functions of the government organizations, right? We will complete all these important things in paper B. Paper second, part A talks about the comparative politics and the theories of the international relations, that what are the important keynote theories in international relations, just like game theory and other things, right? In section B, we talk about India and the world, like in which we will study about the relations between India and their neighborhoods, India and the relationship with the major global powers, just like USA, China, Russia. We will also read about the important multilateral institutions, the important key organizations nowadays, just like Quad, SAARC, G7, G20, all these important key components we will read into this paper. Now in paper 1, if we discuss about paper 1, now how KPS IS will help you in this journey. Now how KPS IS will help in this journey, guys, if you study this subject at your own, it will require you 1 year, or it may be more than 1 year, because you don't know how to start it, from which component you have to took it first and from which book source. If you want, I can tell you in the class, but it will be very impossible for you guys to particularly read all those books, because if we look the paper first, you have to read Western political thought from Plato to Aristotle. For this comparative politics, you have to read Shefali Jha. For political theory, you have to read O.P. Gaba. For this Indian government and politics, you have to read the Oxford Companion by Pratap Bhanu Mehta, right? You have to read the for Indian government and politics, you have to read the B.L. Fadia. So there will be a lot of book, Henry Edwards book. So there is a lot of books, and these books consist of 500 to 600 pages. So it is impossible for a student to complete an optional in 3 months. If you read all these books, first of all, you will end up dying, finding that what is important and what to leave and what not to leave. Now the KPS IAS, what we are doing here, we will give you the class notes every day, right? Whatever I will teach you into the classroom, you can make your own class notes. We will give you the previous year question papers with their model answers. This is the important thing we are doing into the class. Now, everything, whatever homework you have to do, we are doing it for you. We will teach you every day, suppose 3 hours in a class. Now, whatever it is taught in your 3-hour class, you have to write in your notes. You just have to read those classroom notes are more than enough for your UPSC preparation. Whatever I will teach you in your class, if you do that much also, with respect to, you have to look previous year paper, and we have to practice the previous year paper, and we will also conduct the test series also, in which will try to give you the important questions only. If you complete that paper also, 95% I'm guaranteeing you, you will able to score more than 260 marks. In UPSC optional, particularly I'm talking about PSIR, people normally 250 marks is a very good marks, 280 marks, 250 to 300 marks are achievable in PSIR. On an average, most of the students, the most success optional, if you see in the UPSC PSIR, in the UPSC journey is PSIR. 250 is a achievable marks in PSIR. It means 125 in both sections. You can easily get that much marks in this PSIR optional. Got my point? But our target should be, we should target 280 marks. Means 140, and it is easily available. If you score suppose 280 marks in your optional is of 500. Okay, and rest is essays of 250, GS1 250, GS2 250, GS3 250, and GS4 250. How much it is? 250, 500, 250, 500. This is 500 and 1250. So out of this 1250, suppose you get only 500 to 550 also, means less than 50%. If this 550, I add this with 280, it is 830. 830, sure shot, you are into the top 100. Got my point? So 250, whatever number it is in PSIR, whatever number it is more than 250, it is beneficial for you to get a rank. And guys, optional is the key subject. It will decide which rank you will get, which service you will get, and which cadre you will get. Optional decides every other important thing, because if you choose your optional wisely, you can get benefit into GS paper as well. If you choose optional very wisely, you can get benefit in the prelims as well. If you choose optional very wisely, you can get an edge in the interview as well, because most of the time in interview, the things are related to the political structure only, the problems which are related to the society only. If your concept in the political science is clear, definitely 1000 times, if you have political science as an optional, you have edge over thousands of students, those who don't have PSIR optional. And we guarantee you in the KPSIS Hyderabad that we will give you a good amount of ample of time to clear your concepts. We will give you the best quality classroom notes. We will give you the best, what you call, updated notes as well. So you will get everything here. Rest assured, when I will teach you in the classroom, every day we'll have half an hour or 1 hour, whatever you want, we'll have a doubt session as well. Until and unless the quest of every student is not fulfilled, I won't go from the class. This is my personal promise to the students. Right? Now, all these are the parts of the paper. First, section A, in which in the theories of the state, we have to read liberalism, neoliberalism, Marxism, post-colonialism, feminism. In justice, we have to do the conception of justice with special reference to the Rawls theory, right? Equality, that equality in the social, political and economic relationship between equality and freedom, affirmative action, right, different kinds of right and the concepts of human rights. We will also see the democracy, all these things if you read, because every topic has been taken from different book, right? So it will be very difficult for you to find that particular book. So KPSIS will do that. You don't have to read justice from any other book. Whatever we will teach you in the class, you have to make the notes of that. That is sufficient to crack your civil services exam, right? Whatever notes we make from the reference of the previous year paper, previous year trend, right? So you should be assured about that. Indian political thought we will discuss about in detail in the class. Western political thought, okay. In the paper, first section B will discuss about the Indian nationalism, that how the political strategies of the freedom struggle have laid the foundation stone of the Indian constitution, starting from the Satyagraha to the non-cooperation, civil disobedience movement. We will also see the liberalism, socialism concept of the Indian nationalism. We will also see the radical and the humanism approach of the Indian constitution, Indian nationalism. We will see that how the Indian constitution was made, the history of Indian constitution, starting from 1773 Act to the 1947 Act, covering all these important acts, 1833 Act, 1858 Act, 1909 Act, 1919, 1935, all these acts we will cover. What are the silent features of the Indian constitutions, right? Fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSPs, what is the parliamentary system in India, what are the amendment procedures in the Indian constitution, what are the judicial review, what is the basic structure doctrine. So we'll cover up all these, what are the principal organs of the government, legislative, executive, judiciary, how all these functions, grassroots of the democracy, Panchayati Raj, right, 73rd Amendment 1992, Municipal Corporation, 74th Amendment 1992. We will all see these important things. Now the statutory commissions, which these all are the constitutional bodies, just like UPSC Commission, Finance Commission, SC Commission, ST Commission, Women Commission, Election Commission. We'll also discuss in detail about all these commissions. We'll also see the social movement, party system, caste, religion and ethnicity in the Indian politics, federalism, planning and economic development, right? We'll see all these important things into the class. So you can see that how interesting it is. It will eventually help you in your ethics paper. It will eventually help you in your essay paper as well. So that is why I am focusing more on you take PSIR as your optional subject. Now, if we see paper 2 of the PSIR, in paper 2, the first part we will discuss about the comparative politics. What are its theories and approaches, state in the comparative perspective, politics and the representation of participations. We will learn about the pressure groups, social movement in advanced industrial and developing societies, that how these pressure groups, how these NGOs, they works into the society, globalization. We will learn that how responses from developed to developing societies, how globalizations, what is the response of the globalization in developed countries, what is the response of the globalization in the developing societies. We will also see the international theories, approaches from realist theory to the Marxist theory and the functional theory, game theory. We'll read about all the key concepts of the international relations, just like balance of power, deterrence, transnational actors, collective security, world capitalist economy and the globalization, changing international political order, right? There's the end of Cold War, then the concept of the First World Order, Second World Order, Third World Order, right? We'll see that how unipolarity and American hegemony, relevance of non-alignment in the contemporary world, right? We will also see the evolution of the international economic system from Bretton Woods to the WTO, third world demand for a new international economic order, right? That is called NIEO 2.0, globalization of the world economy. We will also see the United Nations agency, its aims and its functioning. We will also see the regionalism of the world politics like European Union, ASEAN, APEC, ARC, NAFTA. We'll learn about all these things. Contemporary global concerns, just like what are the global concerns? Democracy, human gender, terrorism, climate, environment, nuclear proliferation. We'll learn about all these things. After that, in section B, we learn about how that Indian foreign policy is shaped, right? What is the contribution in India's foreign policy? What is India and South Asia? Lookist policy to the actist policy, Gujarat doctrine, nuclear doctrine. We'll read all. We'll also read about India and Global South, right? That how G20 is shaping a Global South. Or we can also learn that India is the new voice. India is the new voice in Global South. We'll learn the important this phenomena, what is Global South, right? India and the United Systems, India and the nuclear questions, recent developments in the foreign policy. Now, one homework I'm giving you, I'm explaining here what is Global South. After that, today you have to go and you have to write an answer that how India is a new voice into the Global South. See, there is nothing like that these countries are in South, so they are called South, Global South, or these countries are, if they are in North, then they are called Global. Actually, the world is divided between the North and South. North and South. North means, the Global North means all the developed nations, just like USA, Italy, Germany, UK. These all play the important component of the Global North. When we talk about Global South means those countries which are now developed. The state of their nature is developing stage, right? Global South may India is in the Global South, Brazil is into the Global South, Mexico is into the Global South, and there are various other countries, those who are the part of the Global South, right? Now, the Global South means India is into the developing stage. Now, how can India use this platform of the Global South? Because recently India has conducted G20, right? Now, how can India use this platform to maintain or to have their strong position into the international arena? Because at the one side, we are having relationship with the US in Quad, we are having relationship with Japan, Australia. At the same time, we are having a relationship with the China in SCO. At the same time, we are having a relationship with the China in BRICS. So how we are balancing all these things? This is the key concern for you, and you have to write an answer in that, right? G20 is or Global South is the new voice for India. You have to write an answer in that. Okay. This was all about, guys, myself, Lokesh. This was all about your UPSC optional, that how to choose your optional subject, why to choose PSIR optional. I have discussed in detail, right? So we'll see you soon in Hyderabad. I'm coming there. Please register yourself to the KPS IS, that is known as Krishna Pradeep's 21st Century IS Hyderabad. We'll see you there. Till then, take care. Thank you.